This is Radar here for On the Radar Entertainment Blog with another weekly baseball observation. So at the beginning of the year, the Cubs were struggling offensively in the outfield, so they played some Chris Bryant in right field and they put Hayward in center field. Then they tried the Carlos Gonzalez experiment of him in right field and Hayward in center field. But the problem with that is Jason Hayward's not a center fielder. He's also not a leadoff hitter as well. So that was two things that they're doing correctly, and at the same time now they're trying the exact same thing again. They just got somebody new. They traded for Nick Castellanos, a defensively challenged outfielder who the Tigers never played in left field. They just shoved him all the way on the other side of the field into right field after they got another guy to play third base. He's also batting second, which he did sometime in Detroit, but he's a middle of the order guy, which is what they were doing with Chris Bryant when he was playing right field. And then Bodie in some games have come in and play shortstop because right now, Daniel Descalso, who is not really a shortstop, he's injured. They demoted Addison Russell. It's like if Baez ever comes out of a game with an injury or something until September call-ups, they don't have anybody to play shortstop. That's why, again, Addison Russell probably would have a better option to stay at shortstop, and you put Baez at second base because they've had a hole at second base. I don't think Tony Kemp would play shortstop, so I don't. And Bodie's not a great defensive player, so that's a bad idea. And even in one of these games this week, because the Cubs blew out the A's one day and the A's blew them out a different day, that Schwarber also came in and caught. That's probably a bad idea. I know that Contreras is injured and you trade Maldonado away, and Caratini and Davis. You don't, in National League game, you guys come in, they pinch hit to do all the stuff. It's just a little murky there because of Schwarber's injury. You don't want to hurt him. Now the Orioles, it seems like every week this season, they have a reason to play Trey Mancini second in the lineup and have him play right field. He's the best player. If Nunez is now playing third base some games because they sent down Rio Ruiz and Trumbull's officially not going to play this year, there's no reason to play Trey Mancini in the outfield when you have so many other guys who play the outfield and he's your best player, so you want to get the most value out of him to play first base or DH with Chris Davis, so that in the offseason, teams could be like, yeah, we need a first base, we need a DH. We don't need a guy who's played mostly left field in the major leagues and then this year played a bunch of right field. I know they sent Cedric Mullins down as Smith is injured and the Keon Broxton short-term experiment didn't work. But they're already playing Wilkerson, a second baseman in the outfield, and Jace Peterson, a third baseman, second baseman in the outfield, and Santana sometimes playing center field. You don't need to play a whole entire outfield of infielders. If you have Peterson in left, Mancini in right, and you have Wilkerson in center field. Now the Jays, it looks like Gurriel's continuing to play the outfield because they call up Bo Bichette and they have Biggio. Now I don't know if they're going to go back to him playing shortstop, and Biggio is more of a utility player, and what they're going to do with Guerrero, if Guerrero's going to play third base next season, or if he's going to shift over to first base or DH, because I feel like Justice Smoke and Brandon Drury are both trade candidates in the offseason because they're not going anywhere, and they want to give Rowdy Tellez an opportunity, but he's limited at first base and DH. And with all the outfielders they have, and Teoscar Hernandez and Billy McKinney, who both they got from other teams like they just did Derek Fisher, they need to give all them opportunities to play every day because that's what the problem is. McKinney's been traded so much. Teoscar Hernandez, the Astros barely used him, and the Astros also barely used Derek Fisher, who they just traded to the Blue Jays. And they have their own guys, Dalton Pompey, Jonathan Alford, and they Davis, and they have and they extended Randall Grichuk. They have so many outfielders that Gurriel playing the outfield may not be the best spot for him because they have so many outfielders they should be giving a chance to. That maybe Gurriel moves back into the infield, and he doesn't have to play shortstop. He can always play second base or third base. See how that works. So that could be something they change. And then there's no point of DHing Freddie Galvis. The best guys that should be DHing are Drury, Guerrero, or Smoke because Galvis doesn't hit that well, and Guerrero Jr. should not be having to play third base every day. Drury should have to play in the outfield or second base. That's what they should be doing. And then the Angel, they continue to bat Mike Trout second despite not having great offense. Yeah, you got Pujols, and you got Ohtani, and you got Upton. But outside of that, nothing really much. You want to try to bat third to make your lineup better. And then the Angels just got Andrew Heaney back, but again, they have no starting pitching whatsoever. So why is Trevor Kale pitching out of the bullpen? Yes, he was successful with the Cubs briefly pitching out of the bullpen, but he's a starting pitcher by trade. And because of all the injuries, they're not playing Fletcher at third base. They're playing a guy named Theus at third base, and he's a first baseman there again, playing guys out of position as well. And then in some of these games this week, Albert Pujols came in and played third base just because they don't have enough guys healthy enough that they got to take their aging first baseman DH and play him at third base. I don't know what Brett Ausmus was thinking. The Indians are on the surge, but again, Francisco Lindor should be leading off. You could have Tyler Naquin lead off, which he's done before. You can have Mercado lead off. There are other options because you want Lindor driving in runs. And the Braves continue to play Acuna in center field some days and bat him lead off every day. Yeah, you don't have Markakis right now, and you also don't have Austin Riley, just got hurt. So you can play Duval or Joyce in left field, and you can play Ciarte every day in center field with Acuna in right field. But Ciarte is a leadoff hitter. I don't know why they're not leading him off. The Tigers, before Candelario got hurt, they were playing him at first base. Again, it doesn't make any sense. He was not a man with a position with the Cubs. Comes over to Detroit, and they bump Castellanos to the outfield, which was a bad idea. When Candelario could have played second base and plugged the hole at second base the Tigers have. The Tigers had Ian Kinsler, but then they got rid of him. They've had a hole at second base since. Candelario would have filled that hole, and at the same time, he also maybe could have filled the shortstop spot with the Iglesias gone, and then you just have a defensive replacement like Nico Goodrum or Gordon Beckham come in late in the game for him. But moving to first base, I don't know what they're doing. And the Mariners can play Nola at second base when they have Tim Beckham and they have Dylan Moore. Now Tim Beckham got suspended, so it's only Dylan Moore. But they call Shed Long up, and they got all these guys in their system that can just call up second base. And you can play Vogelbach at first base or DH and Nola at the other spot. There's no need to DH Domingo Santana. He's not a bad defensive outfielder. He did play center field in Houston and Milwaukee for a bit, and he's playing right field a lot. You could play him in right field, and you could put Malik Smith back in left field if you had Kean Broxton in center field. I don't understand what they're doing there. They're carrying three catchers and they're playing one second base. And I see a lot of games because Domingo Santana's DHing, you're playing Malik Smith and Kean Broxton, there's one outfield spot open, and Dylan Moore and Tim Beckham are playing the outfield. And they're not outfielders, they're infielders. Again, and the Mariners also, if you're going to use Matt Whistler as an opener, the dude's a starting pitcher. Just have him start. You have Wade LeBlanc, you got Tommy Malone, you have Marco Gonzalez, you got all these guys here that you can start. Just a game. You don't need to do openers. The Rays did openers because they had injuries and they had not enough good starting pitchers. Some teams do that when they have injuries to their rotation. You have enough body, so don't do that. The Twins, any opportunity to play Miguel Sano at first base when a guy like Cruz or CJ Cron have the day off, do it. I don't understand the whole point of playing Andre Anza and Mario Gonzalez at first base when you could play them at third base where they're better off. And they also play Mario Gonzalez, Adrian Gonzalez, and Ayers in the outfield and left field. With Kepler in center field and sometimes Rosario in right field. And they've had Mitch Garver leading off. If you're going to make Max Kepler your leadoff hitter, stick to it. If you're going to play him in center field when Byron Buxton's injured, stick to it. They keep herky-jerking Jake Cave down in minor leagues when last year when he filled in for Byron Buxton, he was pretty good. And that was also in center field. Playing him in right field when you can keep Kepler where he usually is fine instead of moving him around from leadoff to middle of the lineup to center field to right field. He's one of your best players. And the Royals, to accommodate the Cuthbert backup and O'Hearn lineup with Soler and Alice Gordon, all these guys, they're playing Hunter Dozier in right field. Hunter Dozier was drafted as shortstop, but he's better off playing third base or first base, and you can DH him if you really want to and just play Soler in right field. I don't understand that. And the Rockies, before David Dahl got hurt, they were playing him in center field. When Ronald Tapia is probably the best option, they've also played an infielder in center field. It's just like Tapia's the best answer. But if you call up a guy from the minor leagues who is a center fielder, that's fine too. And there's no need to play Walter second base when you have Daniel Murphy on your team and all those infielders. Now the Giants, if you're going to bat Brandon Bell leadoff, which he doesn't belong in the leadoff spot, and you're going to play Pablo Sandoval as much as possible at first base or third base, but you also want to get Stephen Vogt's bat in the lineup because that's what he's there for, just play Stephen Vogt at first base because you're already doing Brandon Bell in the leadoff spot, which doesn't belong. And you also play Brandon Bell in a bunch of innings in left field this year. Just go the whole experiment. Throw him in left field and have him lead off. Nationals still are batting Eden second when his best value is leading off. And then Geraldo Parra in a game played first base, third base, and second base when he should be playing the outfield. And then also there's no need to bat Anthony Rendon second in a game when he should be in the middle lineup. And then the Dodgers got Tyler White. He's leading off, which doesn't make any sense. And they got Negron playing center field. You have A.J. Pollock in center field, okay? Verdugo just got hurt, but you have A.J. Pollock in center field. If you don't play A.J. Pollock, you have Jock Peterson. There's no need to play Coley Bellinger or utility player in the outfield, especially when you're trying to get all these outfielders, all these at-bats. Negron is a utility player and should be only playing second base because all the second base options are injured and Muncie's not good defensively at second base, and if Seager needs a day off. But also at the same time, I've seen games where Martin comes in to play third base and Bellinger plays center field. Stop playing guys out of position. And the Padres, you traded Famil Reyes, okay? You don't have a logjam anymore. Will Myers shouldn't have to play center field or even bat second. And then the Yankees continue to bat Judge second with all the injuries that have piled up. Basically, the best guys offensively on their team are contact hitters Urshela and DJ LeMahieu and Brett Gardner and Cameron Maybin right now. Because Gleyber Torres is day-to-day and Gregorius is not going to hit 40 home runs a year. Judges should be batting third or fourth in this lineup right now with all the injuries they have, not second. There's also no need to DH Aaron Hicks. If you have Aaron Hicks and you also have Cameron Maybin, you have Brett Gardner, you got Mike Tauchman, and you got enough guys that can play the outfield. There's no need to DH Hicks when you just DH Judge because you got enough guys to play the outfield, okay? And if Aaron Hicks is injured and not playing, I should not have to see Mike Tauchman. I know I have to see Brett Gardner in center field. That's what Cameron Maybin brings to you. He brings you speed and defense. There's no need for him not to play center field. Again, with all the injuries, you probably should go back to Brett Gardner leading off for even Aaron Hicks or Cameron Maybin and let Mayu bat second or third because he's been your best offensive player. And if, Gleyber Torres is injured, then just play DJ LeMahieu second base every day, okay? There's no need to play him at first base and third base. And then another day, the DH Maybin. Again, what are you doing? The Red Sox, there are some days where Andrew Benintendi plays center field and Sam Travis plays left field. The best thing to do is to play J.D. Martinez in the outfield, which is his natural position, play Travis at first base or DH, and keep Benny in left field, and just shift Mookie Betts over to center field or play Brock Holt in the outfield, because then there are days where I see that Jackie Bradley Jr. went to right field because Travis came in to play left field. They moved Benny to center sometimes. It's like, keep JBJ in center field. There's no need to move him to right field. And then the Rays, I don't know why they're batting Choi leadoff or even have him on the roster whatsoever. You just want to got Jesus Aguilar. Yandy Diaz about to come back, and with third base covered by Matt Duffy, and you got two of the Lau brothers, there's no need to have Choi in your roster. And why is Jalen Beeks in the bullpen? Glasnow and Blake Snell are hurt, and it's just basically Charlie Morton. You just traded away, Jacob Farah. There's no need for that. Now, the Marlins, stop playing Miguel Rojas every day. Birdie's playing the outfield. He's playing every single position. Anderson and Cooper are still playing the outfield. Starlin Castro's play third base. As I said for the last couple of years, the best value for Starlin Castro, if Riddle's hurt or you're not going to play him every day, to play him as shortstop where he can actually handle his position, build his trade value up. Him playing third base does not build his trade value up. It just takes away bats from Brian Anderson at third base. Playing Birdie at third base takes away bats from Brian Anderson at third base. Playing Neil Walker or Prado at third base take away bats from him as well. Doesn't make any sense. Phillies, Cesar Hernandez should not be leading off, nor Sakura Dickerson. Roman Quinn should be the leadoff center fielder, or go back to just Kingery leading off even if he's playing third base. Or try the Gene Segura thing, which they have not tried. And there's no need to bat Rhys Hoskins second if you have Cesar Hernandez or Gene Segura as well. The Reds still bat Votto second, despite the middle of the lineup just being Suarez right now. Just if Jesse Winkler or Senzel is leading off, and the middle of the lineup it does not have Joey Votto or Winker in it, and you have just Suarez only. No offense to Iglesias and Jose Peraza. Yeah, it's not really scary. No offense to Tucker Barnhart. It's not really scary either. So that's why Votto should be batting third or fourth. And there's no need to play Kyle Farmer second base. I know you just traded Scooter Gennett away and Dietrich is injured, but you have Jose Peraza, as I think is good enough to play second base right now, which is the plan at the beginning of the season. And you got Van Meter too. And the A's, yeah, we know that Laureano's injured, but Robbie Grossman and Nick Martini would be better suitors to playing center field, or even Steven Piscotty. And then the Cardinals, now you got Matt Carpenter back, but I think it was good that when Tommy Edman was leading off, you could have Dexter Fowler lead off, not bat second. Also, no need to play Munoz or Edman in the outfield. If you have Dexter Fowler, you have Jose Martinez, and you got one of the guys, O'Neill or Bader, and you got this Thomas guy up, and you have Marcell Ozuna back. There's no need. Okay, that was the weekly baseball observations for On the Radar Entertainment. I'm Radar, and see you next week for another set of observations.